Ah, can you believe it? When was the last time you looked up at the full moon and felt so in control of yourself? Why, I think I see your tail wagging like an excited puppy. Oh, no. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm just so proud of your progress. And I think you should be proud too. You've really come a long way, and thanks to all of your hard work and therapy, we can now enjoy a picnic out here, in the field near the forest. I hope you're all right with the long drive it took to get out here. It's just that the more remote we are, the less likely it is someone will see you shifted and causes problems. You don't mind being out so late, do you? I wish I could be out with you in the daytime. It would make both our lives so much easier. Perhaps one day. And if Ted's research continues to be this fruitful, we might be able to overcome our limitations and walk outside in plain view. To be in public as ourselves. Alas, that day is yet to come. Though I see one lovely consolation for our circumstances. The moonlight certainly brings out the color of your new robes. What do you think? Oh, and the same bright moonlight brings out the highlights and the details of your silver fur. Now that you are in control of yourself, you look quite regal. Oh, but you must know. I have long dreamt of the night when my little moonbeam could grow into themselves. I can't overstate just how proud I am of you. Oh, if you insist, I will give you a respite from embarrassment. I sense the blood rising to your face. And it's reminding me that we still have our dinners to eat. I hope you like what I have prepared for you. I made you a couple of rather thick and bloody rare steak sandwiches with garlic basil aioli. Yes, fear the abominable vampire that can handle garlic. Oh, now how will we keep these vampires from swooping in and raising our abandoned werewolf children for us? Surely these are the end times. Forgive me, please. I was only kidding. I had no idea it would be so agonizing to bring up that memory. I really ought to know better than to try to frustrate you while you are transformed and tower over me. Let's enjoy ourselves. You have been doing quite well. Oh, and the steak sandwiches are not all. Let's not forget your broccoli salad, complete with raisins and almonds. For dessert, we have a package of these delightfully covered macaroons, and a thermos full of a special brew of tea. I got the recipe from an old friend of mine. It's been a minute since I've been able to make it last. I hope I remembered the recipe right. Maybe I could teach it to you. Wouldn't that be fun? I'll take that vigorous tail wag as a yes. Wait, are you sure? You don't have to. After all, I brought along an ample blood donation. Trust me, I love the taste of fresh living blood much more, but I would hate to waste this. It expired today. Unfortunately, by modern regulation, it cannot be used for a patient. However, it is still nourishing for me. Don't get me wrong, I would love to try your blood while you're shifted. I am quite curious about the flavor. However, I am a bit shocked that you would offer it from your neck, considering that is where you were savagely bitten by the werewolf that turned you. I clearly recall you've been laboriously protective of your neck for as long as I've known you. I noticed that you left the house without a scarf, but I assumed you were thinking ahead to your transformation. Now I'm starting to wonder, do you think maybe you're starting to feel more comfortable in your body? I am simply sublime. I could wrap you in my arms if only I could reach you round. Now I am eager to know, how did you and Ted manage this? All of this, yes. Is that so? Oh no, I haven't asked before because I didn't want to pry and interfere with your therapy. Now, if things were not going so well, I may have raised concern, but however, what you and Ted are doing in your mysterious sessions seems to be working. It must be an astonishing experience. Well, every time you have a therapy session with him, it seems like you and Ted are very quiet. Indeed, neither of you says a word. I listen to your breathing and your heart. There are moments where I'm positively sure your bodies are reacting to something, but I cannot tell what. Sooner or later, you transform into your werewolf self, just as you are now. However, it is very different from other transformations that you've made. The ones that made you thrash and stress your restraints. Recent transformations have been so much less, helpless? I don't know. What do you think? That is peculiar. I'll have to talk to Ted and see if he is aware. I imagine it is a mistake that you are not remembering any of your sessions. He may not even realize that you can't recall your therapy while the two of you are meditating. He's very new to this. It's still very experimental. Understand that I'm not making excuses for him. We will ask him for more details about the process. He seemed very focused on making sure you were aware of what was going to happen, along with side effects. So, he should be very open about this. Ah, yes. Of course. I'm happy to help. I beg your pardon? Oh, I am sure I have told you this before. Well, I never was human. No, not to my knowledge. Yes, dear, I was created, entirely fully formed. I don't have a childhood. You remember this, right? Oh, yes. A missing childhood is something we have in common. But the difference is you should have had one. So I don't have an uncomfortable memory such as being changed from one thing to another. That is, unless we're counting the change from being a non-existent to an existing being. Even then, quite non-violent. How silly that you've forgotten. Oh, wait just a moment. What made you ask if I remember being turned into a vampire? What brought that to mind? I can assure you that yes, you were born. You were human. And you are earnestly asking me this? Would you humor me for a moment? Thank you. Lie back on the grass for a moment and take a deep breath. Don't think too hard about anything, just tell me what you're thinking, all right? Do you remember me telling you where I came from? Oh my. You really believe I haven't told you? Just one more, please. Do you remember being bitten by the werewolf? I admit I am quite concerned to hear that. And judging from your increasing heartbeat, I would guess that you are concerned as well. When did you start to notice this memory loss was happening? Was it when we brought you to Ted, the other vampire? Oh no, this simply will not do. I just wish I would have known sooner. I can't even imagine how many other memories are gone, evaporated. And well, you can't either. Oh, but wait, I have an idea. Sweet pea, do you still write in the journal I got you for your birthday a couple of years back? Oh, you do? Oh, you have it with you. Magnificent. That might be a good chance to see if there are any more gaps. Well, only if you want to, of course. You are entitled to your privacy, after all. Oh my. Your blood has again risen to your face. That's fair. I wouldn't want to betray your trust by forcing you to put your private thoughts on display. Perhaps that is something that you could do on your own, without me invading your mind. Why, yes, I will tell you the story again. Maybe you can write it down this time, When I first opened my eyes, I saw a greenish stone in flickering orange and yellow light. I was lying on my back as I just considered how large I felt at the moment. What do you think? Have you ever thought of that when you've changed into your werewolf form? I suppose there were other things on your mind. That makes sense. Yes, I have asked you that before. But I thought maybe this time, now that you were in more control of yourself, you might have thought that way. But I digress. I was greeted by a young man with auburn hair and mismatched eyes. Before I could do anything, I noticed his heartbeat was irregular. This man's hands shook, and his breathing was shallow and rapid. He didn't acknowledge me, even as I tried to talk to him. He poured himself a drink of water and sipped from it as he closed his eyes and took control of his breathing. It was such an effort to inhale slowly through his nose, keep his lungs inflated for a moment, and then ease the air out until he could exhale no more. He would periodically glance over at me, but he didn't say a word. That was until I walked over to him and placed my hand on his shoulder. I asked him if he was all right, and he finally replied so incredulously. He asked me if I had been real the whole time, I said, of course I had been real, and yes, for the entire time. He looked away for a moment, and then he asked if this was the first time I had been real. Such a curious question, wouldn't you say? It made me wonder if he thought it was possible to be real multiple times, as if broken into intervals of existence and non-existence. I told him that to my knowledge this was my first time. This strange fellow was my first memory. You really want to know what happened after that? Are you sure you don't remember all of this? I used to tell this to you as a bedtime story. By chance, is my little moonbeam feeling sleepy? I would have to drive us back home before dawn. Very well, then. It's not like I mind telling you again, not too much, at least. Are you still taking notes? Splendid. I asked what he was doing holding his chest that way. He told me that every once in a while something reminded him of something, and that made him feel physically unwell for a bit. At his request, I filled his jug with water. He sipped and relaxed, and as we talked, he referred to me as his secret friend. Secret from whom? I couldn't tell. He became comfortable with me and me with him. But then he walked across the room unprompted and held a sheathed dagger as he returned to the table. I felt slightly alarmed at first, but what he did made me perplexed as well. He unsheathed the dagger and casually ran the blade over the back of his hand. I could sense he was both intrigued and disappointed as he tried again, harder. Then again, faster. I watched him in confused awe as that shiny blade did little more than tickle his skin like a feather. He couldn't cut into himself with it. Oh no, it looked plenty sharp to me. He seemed to have gotten his mind off of whatever was troubling him, so I hesitated to interject. Eventually, he looked at me and asked, "What do you remember?" I didn't know how to answer, and he seemed to catch on to my bewilderment. He said, "You and I have a complicated history, though it seems by some cosmic providence that you don't remember. Oh, what I would do, what I would trade to be in such a good fortunate circumstance. But alas, this treasure is yours, not mine." I sensed that he and I had differing opinions about memories. I was eager to create my own while he longed to be rid of his. No, this wouldn't be the last time I had a major disagreement with him. I kept in contact with him, touched base with him every once in a while. He helped me get into the field of medicine all those years ago. It was quite a long time later that there was a terrible plague that affected a town on a regional border. He and I were summoned along with various other educated individuals with potential to help. After surveying the town, we conveyed and laid out our plan. The plague was highly contagious, and it stuck to wildlife as well as human beings. We were looking at a long, desperate, and arduous process. It required the cooperation of every person there. We hoped, in the face of annihilation, everyone would be on board with the plan. My friend, however, couldn't be convinced, because he thought that nothing would be more powerful, no law in the universe enforced so perfectly as ignorance and selfishness. He said he couldn't, in all good conscience, doom the region because of misplaced hope. He saw the town like something to be hacked off, like gangrene. He proposed that we leave the town to him, and that he use his magic to create a consuming fire that would leave nothing left but the scorched earth. Though he tried to assure us that the cones of jack pine would open and find fertile soil in the aftermath, the rest of us urged him to reconsider. Someone shouted to him something I would never forget. Take note of this one. Tabitha would not have wanted this. Penelope would not have wanted this. I didn't understand, but apparently the memories attached to those names moved him to spare the town, to give these people another chance. Memories can be difficult sometimes. Maybe that's what Ted was doing for you. I can understand if you would want to forget being bitten on the neck. I would just be worried you might forget a memory, one that made your life worthwhile. A painful memory and a worthwhile memory can exist. They don't have to be mutually exclusive from each other. At the end of the day, I can't make that choice for you. Well, with that, I think story time is finished. Well, did you write all that down? Perfect. Now, how about we go ahead and close up that journal so that we can stargaze a bit? Oh, I thought you said that you brought along the journal I gave you. That's not a problem. It just took me for a loop. I don't remember seeing that around. No, I'm 100% sure I did not give you that particular journal. The cover is different. Yes, if you really don't mind. Now I would really like to take a closer look at it. Let me just take a quick look. So, there is something here that doesn't seem right. Right here. You wrote down that you brought flowers to your parents' graves. The problem is your parents are still alive. Oh no, I feel like I would have heard about that at least. Also, I think you were at the community college at that study group that day. Wednesday. This would be a spring semester. Darling, why would you write this? Well, I guess I wasn't prepared for something like this. But you must know this isn't true, right? Are you telling me you have a picture from that day? May I see? How is this possible? I am remembering correctly. But those are the names of your parents on those headstones. The years of their birth make sense. Then they died the same day? Okay. Here's your phone back. How about this? How about we postpone any therapy sessions with Ted until I can have a serious talk with him? Even before that, though, I think you're ready to talk to that person you attacked. I'll even forget about the restraints. Are you okay with that? No. None of this was your fault. You are doing your best, and you deserve to have people worthy of your trust. Now I feel like packing up. It's been a long night, and these mosquitoes are starting to annoy me. Those filthy, lying bloodsuckers.